All right, guys. Well, today on FlatsClass YouTube, we're going to talk a lot about the only two bait casters that I'm bringing to Louisiana. Now, this is more or less part two of me prepping tackle for my trip out to Louisiana with clients. The difference is this particular part is about me because I'm the one that likes to throw the bait casters. Now, over time, I've realized there's only two bait casters I really need to bring out there, and they're right here. Check them out, and I'll meet you inside the shop. This episode of FlatsClass YouTube is brought to you by Aquatraction, your go-to solution for advanced marine flooring. Man, it feels a heck of a lot better in here in the studio. I mean, it is hot outside. We're talking mid-July right now. It's miserable out, especially midday. Glad I'm not having to be on the water today because I'm too busy packing and teaching you guys why I only need two bait casters out there or bait casting reels while I fish Louisiana. Now, just like I said when we did part one of the tackle prep for Louisiana, I have a propensity for bringing too much gear. And knowing the strength of the fish, the environment that we're fishing in, I don't see a need really for me to bring 8 bait casters, especially the smaller sizes like the 150s. Now, I'm in love with the Tranx 150. I think that is an unbelievable piece of equipment from Shimano. And I do enjoy the Curado DCs. One of my favorite all-time reels from Shimano is Chronarch G. But when you're going out here, those two reels that I showed you a little bit ago, here's what they are. One's the Curado 200 XG, okay? And I'm gonna bring 2 of those because I want 2 different rods. And then I'm only gonna bring 1 of these. This is the Curado 300 HG. Now, you might be saying, so why just those 3 setups? A, it's just 3 setups. But B, these reels are really designed to be torque monsters, if you will. So let me lay the scenario out there a little bit for you. I am targeting bull redfish for the most part with my clients. So if I'm out there, battling bull redfish, interspersed with those fish are giant Jack Crevalle up to 30 pounds. You've seen the pictures that we've posted on Instagram and whatnot. And then there's also the big black drum that are in big schools, and sometimes they're in the ponds tailing in the grass. And we're talking fish that are in that 20 to 30 pound class once again. And all those bull redfish on the outside cane points and in the bays where the pelicans are diving, those are all fish that are maybe 35 to 45 inches long. So you're talking 30 pound redfish, 25 and 30 pound redfish that pull hard. Nothing can beat them down like the Curado. This is the 300. It's a nice beefy reel. Kind of, it's a little heavier, but I'm throwing it on heavier gear. The weight right here is 10.8 ounces. So that's about 3 ounces heavier than the 200 that I'll be using in the ponds. This is a 6.6 gear ratio. That's why the HG. It has 18 pounds of drag. It has the updated cross-carbon drag washers in it. The frame itself is the Hagani material that is very, very rigid. There's no twisting, no torquing, no flexing in this reel. All micro module gearing, so everything's super, super smooth on these reels. I've got lots of adjustment in the drag, lots of adjustment in the brakes for casting, because I'm going to cast, let's just face it, I'm going to cast this big stuff, like these big full-size top dogs and he dogs. Probably throw some of these giant swim baits. These are the 5-inch diesel minnows, and I'm going to throw those on 3/8 and 1/2 ounce heads. So I'm going to be using a heavy action rod. Even with the 300, not only fishing those open water big bulls, I'm probably going to spend a lot of time in the ponds with one of my heavy flipping sticks, sticking those big black drum, and I want to keep them out of the grass. I want to battle them so that I can really take advantage of all this equipment that I'm bringing along with me. Now, I've spooled this particular 300 up with 65-pound braid. You're thinking 65-pound braid? Yeah, I want to win. So the 300 is going to be something that's really good. This has got X ship as well. That's a double supported pinion gear. It's supported on each side by bearings, which makes it brutally tough. And when I say torque monster, this is a torque monster. I'll be able to lean and reel down, and I can pick up 35 inches a line per handle turn, which is really important with the flipping stuff to keep them out of the grass and all the headaches that you have in there. And also, it helps me out when I'm trying to get those bigger fish in on the outside if we're starting to deal with sharks, which unfortunately has been a problem out there in recent years, especially when we fish around the pogie fleets. All right, now I'm going to break down the 200 next. All right, let's talk about the Curado 200 XG as my next choice to bring out to Louisiana. Reason for I'm bringing two. One, because I want one medium heavy rod and one medium action rod. That gives me the ability to throw some smaller baits. This reel is significantly lighter. It's a full 3 ounces lighter, if you will, than the 300. And since I spend most of my time poling the ponds, this will probably be the one that I use the most. Now, I will spool this up in spite of the 11 pounds of drag, and it's a smaller setup. I'll still spool it up with 40-pound Power Pro Super Slick V2. Why, do you ask? Distance casting is not a big deal when you're fishing the pond fish out in Louisiana. I've been doing this for 20 years. You can pole right up to the zone where you're going to throw these things. So the heavier action or the heavier, thicker diameter line on these, bigger reels isn't going to kill my casting distance that much. I don't have to reach out and touch somebody. I can pole all the way over there right to them and cast to them. But the thickness of the line helps a lot with abrasion resistance because a lot of the aquatic or subaquatic vegetation that are in these ponds like hydrilla and widgeon grass and whatnot is very viney. So the fish start running through it and you're trying to stop them. And if you've only got 15 or 20 pound braid on your bait caster that gives you that long cast, well, eventually they will break off. They don't break off with 40, they stay on. And I have a little bit more confidence. Now this is a 8.5 gear ratio here on this XG. Reason for, I can pick up 36 inches of line with this, very similar to the 300. But it's different. It's not only for trying to stop and gain line real quick on fish that are running hard by the boat or whatnot, but it also gives me the opportunity to get that second or third cast that I normally wouldn't get if I had a slower reel, because if you do make a cast and it falls behind the fish or somewhere where he doesn't see it, you can get it back in quickly over the top and then fire right back out there and still reach that fish and get the second try. So that helps a ton. Again, all the same types of features, the Hagani body. This has X ship also, so the pinion gear is supported on both ends of that gear with bearings. So lots of rigidity, lots of strength, lots of torque in the 200. I love the wide spool that I have on this particular one, just because when you load it with that heavier braid, it feels good. Micro module gearing, super smooth, super quiet. Lots of adjustment both in the star drag and in the braking system, so I can use a variety of baits, anything from plugs like the Catch 5 to a lot of the, what I'm going to say, bass bait deals. We throw a lot of the grass kickers, frogs, goats, the new kicker crab, which I'll be doing a video out in Louisiana with that particular bait. So I mean, some really good stuff. The 200 is just kind of a workhorse reel. Has always been one of my favorites. Even when I put lighter line, the thing casts like a dream. But these will be the only 3 reels, because I'm going to bring, remember, 2 of the 200s and 1 of the 300s. They'll be the only ones I bring out there this season. Not a big reason to drag a lot of stuff out there. And they'll serve me well the entire time. All right, if you like what you see here on FlatsClass YouTube, the breakdown, stuff like this, something interesting because I'm getting ready to go on a road trip. Some of our visits to like Mirrolure or Hell's Bay, our television shows, our podcasts. I mean, we've got tons of stuff on here, product reviews. We even do stuff outside, extraneous stuff outside the box. We do barbecuing, sometimes outdoor cooking with the fire disc or the pellet grill. We've even done gun range stuff. So there's something for everyone here on FlatsClass YouTube. And if you're finding that is true for you, hit that subscribe button. We want to make you a lifetime fan. We want to get the information to you as fast as we can. And that's what my job is. I've been doing stuff here in the outdoors now for most of my life. And I'd like to share as much of it with you as I can. All right. Now that I've got that out there for you, I'm headed back into the shop in the back here because I got to keep packing. I've got a lot more to do. And look for another YouTube in about 2 days. We're going to show you how we're going to load that boat up, be efficient for Louisiana. Take care, everybody.